At New Year's Eve, my parents slammed the door right in my face. Their voices rang cold. "Don't come back." Fireworks exploded overhead, painting the Wyoming plains in red and gold. I stood on the frozen porch, an envelope of bank statements clenched in my fist. Then a sleek black SUV rolled up the gravel drive. A woman everyone swore was dead stepped out, silver hair whipping in the wind, notebook in hand. She met my eyes. "Tell me," she murmured, her voice cutting through the pops and booms, "who spent my money in your name?" "My name is Rhea Jay. I'm 34, an energy consultant based in Cheyenne, 3 hours from the family ranch in Casper. I spend my days forecasting wind farm output and managing pipeline crises for oil giants. But every holiday drags me back to the same house, the same guilt, the same slow drain on my accounts. Tonight was supposed to be different. I came with proof. Instead, I got locked out. If you've ever stood outside your own family's door wondering who's really been using your name, drop your city in the comments below. Share your story. Subscribe for the full revenge and hit the bell. You won't believe what happens next. I drove back to Cheyenne through the dark plains, wind howling against the car. The heater blasted, but the chill from that porch clung to my skin. I gripped the wheel tighter, replaying the fireworks, the slam, the impossible woman with the notebook. By the time I pulled into my garage beneath the high-rise, exhaustion hit hard. I dropped my bag, kicked off my boots, and went straight to the kitchen counter where my laptop waited. Sleep could come later, answers first. I logged into the corporate banking app, the one tied to my energy consulting contracts. The dashboard loaded slowly, then a red banner flashed across the top. "High priority alert, new lien recorded." My stomach dropped. I clicked it. The document unfolded like a trap. A loan for $150,000 disbursed 3 days ago. Secured party, an obscure lender out of Nevada. Collateral. My name stared back. Rhea Jay's professional assets, including all project forecasts, client contracts, and intellectual property at Frontier Energy Group. They had pledged my entire career, my wind farm models, pipeline risk reports, the bonuses I'd earned, sweating over datasets in windowless offices. I scrolled to the authorization section. There, it was a digital signature in my handwriting dated 8 years earlier, the same year I added my parents to the household account for emergencies. I had never signed anything like this. My pulse hammered as I dug into the transaction history of that joint account, the one my mother, Rhea Jay, insisted on for family stability. The withdrawals revealed a decade of betrayal. Monthly drains always just under $10,000 to avoid flags. Charges from online casinos in Mark's name. My father forever chasing the next bet after his trucking job dried up. Luxury subscription boxes for Anita designer handbags shipped to the Casper Ranch. And Knox, my 25-year-old brother, glued to his gaming setup, hundreds at a time for virtual skins, in-game purchases, premium battle passes. I cross-referenced dates. The year I landed my first major contract forecasting turbine efficiency, the account opened. Coincidence? No. The month my bonus arrived for crisis managing a spill in the Bakken fields, a $5,000 household repair, vanished timed, with Anita's new patio furniture delivery. Knox's biggest splurge matched my promotion to senior consultant, $8,000 on a custom PC rig. They weren't emergencies, they were habits. My success funded their vices, Mark's late-night poker sites, Anita's endless carts, Knox's digital empires. The joint account wasn't a safety net. It was a pipeline siphoning my earnings while I built a life 3 hours away. I pulled up the lender's contact. Nevada Address Shell Company. The loan had been wired straight to the household account. Current balance $40,000 after another wave of charges. A $2,000 casino withdrawal yesterday. A designer coat for Anita. Knox's latest game bundle. My hands shook as I screenshotted everything. The lien wasn't just debt. It threatened my clearance, my contracts, my reputation in an industry where trust is everything. One default and frontier energy could freeze my access, kill my projects. Years of grinding gone because they treated my name like an open tab. I leaned back, staring into the screen's glow. The woman with the notebook, Yvonne Whitaker, my grandmother, dead 15 years in a private plane crash over the Rockies. Everyone said so. No body recovered, quick probate trust distributions to Anita. But she'd stood there tonight alive, asking the question now burning in my mind. Who authorized this lien? Who forged my signature? The answer sat in Casper behind that slammed door. My phone buzzed a bank notification. Another withdrawal attempt blocked. The war had started before I even knew the battlefield. My phone buzzed once in the silent apartment, an unknown number, then silence. I stared at the screen, pulse still racing from the blocked withdrawal. The call came again. This time I answered. Rhea Yvonne, said her voice steady as steel. The ranch. Now. Bring everything you have. Click. No hesitation. I grabbed the printouts from the printer, stuffed them into a folder, and hit the road. The drive to Casper cut through miles of empty highway headlights, slicing the darkness. 3 hours later, I turned onto the gravel path leading to the old ranch house, its porch light flickering like always. I used my key, the one they hadn't bothered to change. The living room smelled of stale coffee and tension. Anita sat stiffly on the worn couch, arms crossed her face, wearing that familiar wounded mask. Mark paced near the fireplace, shirt, untucked eyes darting. Knox slouched in the recliner, thumbs tapping away on his phone. Yvonne stood at the head of the coffee table, notebook open like a judge's gavel. She didn't sit. We're settling this, she declared, gaze sweeping the room. Anita started to speak. Mother, this is absurd. Rhea shows up with papers dragging you into quiet. Yvonne flipped a page. The air went still. Mark, she began, voice sharp. Online poker losses last quarter 42,000, wired from the household account memo line, truck maintenance. My father froze, mid-step, color draining from his face. That was bad luck. The rig needed parts. Another page turned. Anita. Designer wardrobe subscriptions and jewelry drops 38,000. Labeled medical supplies for your supposed back issues. My mother straightened, defensive. Doctor visits cost money. You know how my spine spare me. Flip, Knox. In-game purchases, custom setups, tournament entries 29,000. Tagged as educational software. My brother's phone slipped from his hands. It's networking, Grandma. Building skills. Yvonne closed the notebook with a sharp snap. Over 10 years, 109,000 total, all drawn from Rhea's deposits. The trust I established was meant for independence, not indulgence. Anita leaned forward. We're family. She has plenty. That job of hers pays for your habits. I cut in, spreading the printouts across the table. Casino logs, order receipts, game transactions, all matching the dates I remembered, pulling all-nighters for project deadlines. Mark rubbed his neck. Kiddo, we hit rough patches. You helped. Knox scoffed. Yeah, like you'd even notice. Big consultant salary. Yvonne's eyes locked on him. The bracelet you flashed last month, 5,000 from a Cheyenne jeweler. Paid with Rhea's bonus. Knox shifted. My boyfriend chipped in. Liar. I pointed to the charge. Anita's voice climbed. This is an attack. After everything we sacrificed raising you. Mark nodded. Ungrateful. We kept the ranch running. Yvonne reopened the notebook and slid a single sheet toward them. The lien on Rhea's work was that you're doing. Silence. Anita's eyes flicked to Mark, who looked away. Knox picked at his nails. I stood. No more. The accounts, the access, the lies, this ends tonight. The wind slammed the ranch door as I stepped out, notebook copies in hand. I tossed the folder onto the passenger seat and sped off down the gravel road, dust rising in my wake. The highway back to Cheyenne felt longer this time, every mile sharpening a plan. By dawn, I parked beneath the energy high-rise downtown, coffee in one hand, evidence packet in the other. Belinda Crane's office overlooked the rail yard's glass walls catching the first light. She greeted me at the door, sharp suit, no smile, the financial attorney I'd found through industry contacts. "Sit," she said, motioning to a sleek table already set with legal pads. I spread the printouts, lien documents, account logs, signature scans. She reviewed quickly, fingers moving across her keyboard. "Fake power of attorney," she concluded, enlarging the digital mark. "Lifted from an old refinance form you co-signed on the ranch mortgage. The notary stamp expired years ago. That's the entry point, they used it to gain access." I nodded. "The lien hit my business assets. How do we kill it?" Belinda leaned back. "4 pillars. First, revoke. I'll draft an immediate revocation file with the county and notify the bank. The POA dies today," she typed as she outlined the plan. "Second, freeze. Extended fraud alerts across Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. No new accounts without your physical authorization. Your name becomes a vault. Third, reverse. We file a termination on the lien grounds of fraud. The Nevada lender receives notice. The public record gets corrected. Your projects stay untouched. Fourth, contain. Temporary restraining order on the household account. Any withdrawal triggers contempt. We'll argue flight risk based on their spending." I opened my laptop. I traced the IP addresses on the recent logins. A few clicks through the bank portal's admin logs. Origin, the ranch modem in Casper. Same for the lien application. Belinda's eyes sharpened. "Perfect. That proves coordination. We'll include it in the TRO motion ex parte so the judge signs fast." She slid a card across the table. "Use this email for any contact from your relatives. Forward everything. Do not reply." I studied the outline glowing on her screen. Revoke the key. Freeze the well. Reverse the damage. Contain the bleed. What about the trust Yvonne mentioned? She shrugged. "That's her lane. We secure your flank first." An assistant knocked, handing over the drafts. Belinda signed where needed. "Courier to the clerk by noon. Bank legal gets the forgery affidavit." We move quietly, fast. I gathered the files. "No contact starts now." She met my eyes. "Exactly. They're opponents, not family. From this point, no contact." 2 mornings later, I walked to my truck in the underground garage. My footsteps echoed off the concrete until I reached the mailbox bank near the elevator. My slot hung open, hinge snapped, contents scattered. Bills lay shredded, and a single photo of the ranch was torn in half. Someone had broken into it during the night. I gathered the pieces, pulse quickening. The photo showed me at 16 standing beside the wind turbine model I built for a science fair. A message scrawled in red marker across the back read, "Stop digging." No signature, but the handwriting matched the birthday cards Knox used to send when he still pretended to care. Upstairs, I booted my work laptop. An alert flooded the screen, 72 new emails in my company inbox, all marked urgent. Subject line screamed Rhea Jay. Unprofessional conduct client complaint. Immediate review. I opened one. The sender was anonymous, the attached PDF, a forged memo accusing me of leaking project data to competitors. The signature, my scan name, lifted from an old expense report. I switched to the server dashboard. Admin privileges let me trace the sender's metadata. Every email originated from the same Casper residential IP, timestamped between 2:00 and 4:00 a.m. My brother still had access to the old family router password. He'd never changed it after moving his gaming rig. The spam wasn't random. Clients had received copies, 3 major accounts flagged for review. One VP already replied, "Clarify or we pause the contract." Months of modeling and forecasts hung in the balance. I called IT security. "Trace this IP cluster," I said, keeping my voice steady. The tech confirmed, all from one modem in Casper, Wyoming. "We're quarantining the traffic." I thanked him, then blocked the sender's domain. But the damage lingered. My phone rang, Knox's contact photo, a selfie from years ago. I let it go to voicemail. His voice came through low and venomous. You think freezing accounts hurts us. Keep pushing and your precious job disappears. Clients hate liars, sis. The recording ended with a sharp click. I saved the audio and forwarded it to the harassment log. The mailbox break-in violated building policy, so I reported it along with photo evidence. Management promised to upgrade the security cameras. For the forged memo, I drafted a counterstatement and attached authenticity logs from the original file. The spam wave slowed, but the threat remained. They were targeting my livelihood now, clients, reputation, stability. I opened the project folder and backed up every forecast to an encrypted drive. One breach and years of credibility could vanish. Another alert popped up, a LinkedIn message from a fake profile using my old college photo. It read, "Rhea Jay steals from family. Avoid." I reported it, took screenshots, and added it to the file. The pattern was clear: physical, digital, personal. I stood by the window watching the traffic below. The ranch felt farther away than 3 hours. They thought chaos would make me retreat. Instead, it forged my resolve. The next afternoon, I sat in Belinda's glass-walled conference room overlooking the plains. The door opened and a paralegal escorted my relatives inside. Anita first, eyes rimmed red, clutching a tissue. Mark followed, shoulders slumped. Knox came last, hood up, avoiding my gaze. Yvonne occupied the head seat posture, firm and unyielding. Belinda clicked her pen. "This is a preliminary settlement meeting. Terms are as follows: dissolve the joint household account, admit to fabricating the document, repay $200,000 with interest and complete financial counseling. Sign or we proceed to a formal hearing." Anita dabbed her eyes. "This is cruel. We're just trying to survive. Rhea's success, it's family money." Mark nodded. "Yeah, we kept things running. It's been rough since the trucking layoffs." Knox leaned forward. "You froze everything. I've got bills. This isn't fair." Belinda slid the repayment schedule across the table. "Fairness ended when you exploited her access for personal benefit." Yvonne cleared her throat and produced a blue folder. "This is the will addendum I drafted years ago, includes a behavioral clause. Any coercion or manipulation under the guise of family results in immediate removal from inheritance." She opened it and read aloud, "Assets shall be redirected to non-offending heirs." Anita gasped. "Mother, you can't do that. We're family." Mark's jaw tightened. "This is extortion. After everything we've done." Belinda tapped the photocopy of the forged document they had submitted. "Let's review this so-called authorization. The notary listed had an expired commission in 2003 and was deceased by the filing date." Anita flushed. "That was an oversight. An honest mistake." The paralegal logged timestamps. Knox shifted his hand, slipping into his pocket. A faint beep followed. Belinda's head snapped up. "What was that?" Knox froze. "Nothing. Just my phone." She stood circling the table. "Empty your pocket. Now." He hesitated, then complied, revealing a recorder with a blinking red light. "You're taping a private negotiation. That's illegal in Wyoming without consent." Anita stammered. "He didn't. We wouldn't." Mark shot his son a glare. "Idiot." Yvonne's expression hardened. "That's evidence of bad faith. The clause activates immediately." Belinda retrieved the device and powered it off. "This recording now becomes evidence. It proves intent to distort the record later." She looked directly at them. "The offer stands for 5 minutes. Sign or we move forward with contempt and conspiracy charges." Knox sank back defeated. Anita whispered to Mark, who shook his head. Yvonne closed the folder with finality. "Time's up." That night, a courier delivered a heavy envelope to my door. Thick cream stock embossed with the Rusty Spur Steakhouse logo, the oldest establishment in Casper. Inside was an engraved invitation: reconciliation dinner. Private room. 8 p.m. Yvonne Whitaker. Copied to all. I drove 3 hours across the plains, the horizon blurring past. The steakhouse smelled of aged beef and oak. A hostess led me to the back where sliding doors opened to a circular table set for 4. Yvonne sat at the head, her expression neutral. A brass-bound box dominated the center, 3 keyholes glinting under the light. Anita arrived next. Pearl's gleaming smile rehearsed. Mark followed in his best shirt. Knox came last, fidgeting with his sleeve. Their faces brightened when they saw Yvonne. Mother Anita cooed, kissing her cheek. "This is perfect family together again." Mark clapped her shoulder. "About time." Knox poured the wine, skipping my glass. "To fresh starts, Grandma." Yvonne raised hers but didn't drink. "We'll discuss the future," she said. "Each of you write 1 sentence, your core family principle." Non-negotiable. They complied eagerly. Anita folded hers with a maternal glow. Mark grunted approval. Knox hesitated, then slid his in. I wrote mine, deliberately calm. Yvonne collected the cards and inserted them into the box's slots. 3 keys turned click, click, click. The lid lifted. Empty. Their smiles faltered. "A scanner," she explained. A wall painting flickered to life, displaying their words. Anita blood above all. Mark loyalty forgives everything. Knox family shares everything. Rhea, own what's yours. Anita paled. Trickery. Mark slammed the table. "What is this?" Yvonne pressed play on a hidden device. Knox's voice filled the room. "Port her number, grab the codes. Drain the accounts before she notices. Family money, right?" It was his voicemail, his plan to hack my banking app amplified for everyone to hear. Knox went white. "That's private." Anita clutched Mark's arm. "Mother, please show mercy." Yvonne unfolded a document. Final will revision. Addendum activated, no shares for manipulators. All to Rhea. Her pen hovered. "Sign the settlement from yesterday, or I execute it now." Silence thickened. Anita pleaded, "We're your blood?" Mark whispered odds. Knox stared blankly. Yvonne lowered the pen. Her signature flowed. "The will is signed. You're done." A week later, the courtroom in Casper was packed with wind-chilled faces. Benches creaked under relatives from the ranch network, eyes fixed on the front. Belinda stood beside me at the petitioner's table, folders stacked high. Yvonne occupied the first row of the gallery, a silent observer. The judge entered, robes sweeping. Case J versus J. Final hearing on injunction and trust enforcement. She scanned the docket. Evidence submitted, misuse logs, forged access harassment records. Anita gripped the rail, mascara streaking down her cheeks. Mark stared at the floor. Knox slouched, hoodie shadowing his face. Their lawyer shuffled papers. "Your Honor, this is family overreach." "My clients acted in good faith," Belinda cut in. "Good faith doesn't forge documents or threaten careers." She projected the server logs, IP traced to Casper, routing coordinated spam campaigns. Harassment after a restraining order. The judge raised a brow. "Proceed." Belinda detailed the repayment audit, $200,000 diverted from my deposits to fund their lifestyles. "We request a permanent injunction, account dissolution, full restitution, and financial receivership for Knox to prevent further access." Anita erupted. "She's destroying us." After raising her, the gavel struck. "Order." Mark muttered, "Ungrateful." Knox whispered to his lawyer, who only shook his head. Yvonne rose without being called. "The trust addendum, my clause. Any manipulation forfeits shares." She handed over the signed revision. The judge reviewed it. Authenticated. Enforced. The ruling came swiftly. Injunction granted permanently. Household account dissolved. Restitution ordered, $200,000 secured against ranch equity. Knox placed under financial receivership, no independent accounts, without trustee approval. Anita wailed. "The house, our home." Mark lunged forward. "You can't." Bailiffs stepped in, escorting them out amid their protests. Knox followed, head lowered. The judge turned to me. "Ms. J, the ranch deed transfers solely to you. Condition: no family leverage." I nodded. The key brass heavy pressed into my palm earlier by Yvonne's hand. Outside, wind whipped the courthouse steps. Relatives turned away. I gripped the key tight. This door stays closed. Years of enabling ended here. Boundaries aren't betrayal, they're survival. Family isn't a license to take, it's respect earned. I walked away lighter, knowing my name, my work, and my future belonged only to me. Protect yours the same way.